I missed that presentation part, but anyway, thanks Beranger, thanks Lauren for leading the session of Caucasus, and thanks Arva for this platform and these meetings. And as we are late, I will start immediately. So today I will present the newly discovered or not published tombs of Kura-Araxes in the territory of Armenia. Some of them were recently excavated and even in the process of excavations. So my apologies in advance if I won't have comparison study of everything. Hope we will have publication of many of these materials with deeper research soon in the future. So as the presented Kura-Araxes tombs are mostly accumulated on the northwest part of Armenia, first I would like to show the map of already known burials in that part of Armenia. Of course, I'm missing here Karnut because I will have comparative descriptions of it in the presentation. So these are the known Kura-Araxes tombs with the white points, and with the red points you see the new or not published tombs of Kura-Araxes, and there's only one for this moment far east from this group on Lori region, you can see, and on the right side separately from this group. So the new ones I'm going to present are Jerapi, Azatan, Karnut in Shirak region, Artaduc and Chirakamut on the border of Shirak, and Lori, Dasht and Shaman in Arad Valley, and as I said, Pijut or the same channel on the eastern border of Lori region. So before I start showing all the tombs separately, I would like to mention that many of them are not the results of planned excavations and were discovered after some agricultural construction work, or sometimes even worse, after being destroyed or robbed. Okay, so let's start the burials separately. The first one in the list of mine is Artaduc. This is, as I just mentioned, one of the victims of the construction work. As you see, it is in a modern building, which is being used now as a storage by the owner of the house. So first, we were happy to find human bones inside of the chamber, but very soon the owner informed us that he found human bones from different places. I mean, like he excavated so-called like some different period tombs, and he accumulated in this chamber different chamber bones, different tomb bones, because he has preserved only this one. So as you see, it is a stone cist with an entrance. So after all this disappointment, we were lucky enough when he showed what he has found from this tomb. So as you see, 4 Kura-Araxes vessels, and I'm sorry, but all this like stupid restoration was done by him after finding. So anyway, we have one more point on Kura-Araxes map of Armenia in case of Artaduc burial. So, but while looking surrounding area of the tomb, we found a lot of Kura-Araxes ceramic shards and decent iron piece, as you see on the right side. So we can state that we have traces of Kura-Araxes settlement and the burial for this moment in Artaduc. And the next tomb is Jerapi, was excavated by Shirak Regional Museum team during Armenian-German expedition in 2013. From the picture is already clear that the tomb was robbed, so the backside of the tomb you see is destroyed. And all we have here is a nice limestone cist with an entrance on the south. So typical Kura-Araxes chamber. And the partly restored vessel, which was found next to the entrance from inside. So it should be noticed that before of these tomb excavations, the same team have excavated a few later period tomb next to this one, and all the surrounding surface is covered by Kura-Araxes different size vessel fragments. So again, we have traces of a settlement, and now we have new burial together. And again, the next victim of so-called not archaeological excavations is a tomb in Shirakamut. As you see, it is right in a yard of a living house. And when the owner realized what he was destroying, he decided to call the archaeologist. And when we went, the situation was already disappointing. So just I'm being here ironic, saying that what we found there after arriving, so we realized that the tomb was a stone cyst. You can see the stones. It had a lot of ceramics and of course human bones. So in general, you can see the situation, how it was after we arrived there. But hopefully we could excavate some in situ situation, part of human skeleton on its left side, as you see. And I believe the big stone next to the skull was the entrance door, as it usually in Kura-Araxes sculpture. So all was possible to restore from that pile of ceramics you just saw are 9 partly completed vessels. I mean, we were missing some pieces of these vessels because it was in a big pile of soil you saw there. We could collect it, whatever was possible. The other burial, as I said in the beginning, showing the map, is far from the group, and this is Pijut or Shanoch, same Shanoch, excavated by the expedition of Institute of Archaeology and Ethnography of Armenia. Actually, the ceramics was already used by Ruben Badalian in his recent paper about Kura-Araxes chronology of Armenia, but as the burial itself was not published completely as a separate burial, so I decided to put it in this presentation, as well as first, as it is only pit burial among the presenting ones, and secondly, an Iron Terum subculture tomb was not excavated in a while, so I put here this one as a separate burial new found, and which is not published anywhere. So now moving to art plane, I'm pretty sure you remember the Tomb of Shaman, which was already presented among the Arvas lectures by Ruben Badalian. And I will do a light description of it again, but mostly focusing on human remains. And again, everything has started with the rope tomb, which is on your screens now. But this time we were lucky enough not to be done with only this destroyed one. And our, let's say, so-called EB team started to look for a complete burial. And the first of all, during study the rock burial materials from burial number 1, it was clear that first time we have Sherish Mohabulur subculture type tomb. And very soon an untouched one was found completely covered in situ captions, you can see. So the chamber is a stone cyst with an entrance on its south. It was full of materials and contains a lot of artifacts of different types, such as a few decades of ceramic vessels, which are, I won't be, I mean, like, I'll honestly say amazing with their nice decorations, and there are more than 30 for this moment, 30 vessels. Around 100 of different bronze objects. Now there are like more than 100. A few hundreds of different types of beads. For this moment, we have like more than 1,000. And of course, with every new find, we are more and more satisfied. I mean, our surprised or shocked faces talk for us. And of course, human remains. Actually, the situation is more confusing with the bones. More than 30 individuals already excavated. I mean, 30 skulls, because it is really hard to figure out which bone belongs to whom in this mess. To be honest, we are still excavating this tomb, and a few hours ago I was still in the chamber. So I mean, hope we can still have on the lower layers a better preserved individuals in anatomical positions. For this moment, it is difficult to talk about the burial ritual, as I said, because it is still in the process of excavations. The bones are very mixed. As you see here, I just brought an example. I took this picture just yesterday. As you see, two human mandibles on the top of each other. So it's a nice example of non-anatomical situation. But anyway, there are some parts of the bodies in situ conditions. As you see, the middle part of the individual with the vertebrae, ribs, and both femurs completely preserved in anatomical conditions. Or some shoulder part with a humerus in situ and one complete leg on the right picture you see here. One more complete arm was possible to uncover, even with its phalanx on the left side of the pile of bones. And again, one complete leg, which was unearthed again yesterday. So I mean that even if the situation looks disappointing in terms of having complete skeletons, there are some in situ situations though, and we hope we will have general idea about the burial practice of this tomb soon in the future. So the next tomb I would like to show is Dasht. It is very close to Shamian, located right in the next village of Shamian. Luckily, it was not destroyed, even being located in the center of agricultural fields. It had a small surface, you can see on your screens, hill, so which was used later to accumulate the fields stone by the farmers. So I guess that is the reason it was preserved. I mean, they used it to, they saw there a small hill, they collected their stones from the field, so it was preserved that, in that case. So the stone system again chamber was almost rectangular in the shape with 2 by 1.8 meter sizes dug into a rocky ground. But again, the situation in the chamber was not much different than in Shamian. Almost the whole chest was full of human bones, most of them again not in situ anatomical positions. Here you see the northwest part is full of skeletons, but the opposite part was also covered with the human bones. I mean, we just left that part to be able to work on the other side. And to be clear how it was hard to excavate as well as to do the documentation of the bones positions and the whole situation in general, I'm showing a picture of only a small part of it, which reminds more as just a pile of bones than any situation. So you can see it's like how collected all the bones together, and almost the whole chamber had the same situation. So as I said, as I talked about the documentation, so first I decided to number just the human skulls, at least to have the amount of the individuals based on the cranium. So you can see the numbers there. But sooner it was clear that it will be never possible to determine the bones locations while working on them in the lab. So we decided to number every single bone with their measurements. As in Shamian, as well as in Dasht, the burial practice is kind of complicated. So I mean that it took around 1 month to excavate this pearl, and you see my field notes on the bones to document every bone and with the level, the depth and the position in the chamber, like every single bone. At the same time, again, there are fragments of anatomical situations and mostly vertebrae. So as you see, I put here only 5 of them, the good preserved ones, but there are more vertebrae preserved in the chamber. But at the same time, evidence of visible separated bones, such as this skull pushed into the northeast corner between of the walls, face to the slabs. So I mean, like for sure, this one was moved already before and like placed somewhere in the corner. So at the end of excavations, 29 human skulls were documented. But my first impression is we don't have enough other bones for 29 individuals in the chamber. I mean, I believe part of the bones are missing mostly the long bones. So just to be clear, I mean that while I was doing documentation of every single bone, so the biggest amount we have there were femurs, and we don't have more than 31 femurs there. It means that if we divide them to couples for like each individual two femurs, we will have no more than 15 individuals there, but we already have 29 skulls. So it means that for sure a lot of bones are missing. But anyway, this need to be approved after the laboratory study. At the end, there was a nice view on the floor. The southeast part of the chamber floor was leveled with the clay. And you can see here upper part and this part, natural bedrock. And on the northwest part. So it is clear that chamber was, I mean, they made level with the clay. It is clear that the chamber was dug into tufa bedrock, and the evidence of it is the natural seams, like sutures on the west wall, continuing on the floor inside of the chamber. So you can see here the natural seams here, and they are going inside deep in the chamber. So they cut the natural rock to build this chamber here. So yeah, as I said, we have 29 at least individuals here, but besides the human remains, 11 Kura-Araxes 1 vessels were unearthed here. And a lot of beads there, more than 1,000 of different type. You can see here how many like different colors, different stones here. And these 2 bronze objects are our only metal artifacts from the chamber. I would like to mention that before Shaman and Dash, there was only one known tomb in the territory of Armenia with so many individuals. So excavated 25 skulls in Karchakpur tomb. Unfortunately, there's no picture, but even in the drawing, it is clear that as Dasht as well as in Karchakpur, the biggest amount of in situ preserved parts of the bodies are the vertebrae. So you see on the drawing, mostly preserved with the skulls. So to be honest, I have no explanation of this, and maybe some of you will have more examples or ideas about this situation. Honestly, I never met so many vertebrae to be preserved. I mean, like only vertebrae to be preserved. So the ones I just show, especially Shaman and Dasht, bring new data in Kura-Araxes culture, or at least in general, or at least in the territory of Armenia. But following tops I will continue, I believe, are rare or at least not widespread in Kura-Araxes culture. The Azatan tomb number 13 has been excavated again by Chirac Regional Museum and German joint expedition. I would like to mention that the study of the site is being carried out since 2008. Around 20 late bronze and Iron Age pearls and around 300 square meters of the settlement has been excavated, and not even a single Kura-Araxes sherd was found before this tomb. Honestly, I participated a few times in the excavations of the team, and these vertical stones were right next to our road to the Iron Age cemetery, and finally in 2015 we decided to open it. So you can see what was visible on the surface before we excavated it. And this is how it looked like on the drawing at the end of the excavations, a circle with around 13 vertical placed stones. But before the end, we opened a nice placed stone slabs floor, which was covering the whole circle from inside. I guess it is clearly visible inside of the vertical stones. It's a flat stone slab, floor made, and 20 centimeters deeper of this floor, there was another accumulation of the smaller slabs. Just to be honest, I'm not sure about this one, but some of my colleagues, who excavated there, think it could be the second floor. It looks like kind of, again, like maybe they made level or something, or maybe it's really the first floor under the one I showed you. So from a far view, you can see it has a cromlech around the circle here. And I guess the biggest question was here, or maybe it's still actual, if this is a tomb or not, because we have found only a few very small fragments of human bones. Like really tiny fragments, like some pieces of ribs and phalanx. So I don't know, it's still under the discussion if the structure is kind of look like a tomb, but again, unusual for Kura-Araxes. So, and the ceramics were fragmented, and all was possible to restore are different partly completed small vessels or cups, and as well as a bronze dagger was found. You can see a lower part of the picture. And as I know, the slab floors in the chambers are not very widespread, but they are still existing. And just as an example, I put Tallinn tomb number 10 here as a parallel for its slab floor. So if with the stone floor is more or less clear, it is more or less clear, but with the whole structure in general, the floor, the slab floor and the vertical circle and everything, I could hardly find the only one and I believe this one has more similarities. So that one is burial number 8 in Kiketi. So the picture is from the book of Aghikyan's Eneolith from McCarthy. I guess some of these vertical stones were partly on the surface. And the lower picture, upper parts of the stones the structure and the color, I guess they were on the surface visible. And as you see on the drawing on the upper one on the left, it has a slab floor too. So, and the author says in the book that the tomb contained fragments or shards of bronze ceramics and the baby skull. So I mean that this one I could find has more similarities with that circle and the slab floor inside. But if you will know some more examples of this kind of burials or structures in Kura-Araxes, I will be very thankful for that information. And finally, Karnut, as I said in the beginning. So since the beginning of my presentation, talking almost about every tomb, I mentioned some positive and negative results at the same time. So Karnut tomb number 11 was not an exception from this point of view. And as you see, 4 in situ capstones covering the tomb. And then the situation even was better. The stone's chamber had a horseshoe shape, and it seemed nothing can go wrong. But it was empty. So just to explain the situation, you can see the structure. I mean, it's horseshoe shaped with a round on one part. And there is with 2 columns door closed from outside. I mean, like it was untouched, not destroyed, but we have what we have. But not even a fragment of human bone was found. And guess what was the only find in the chamber? So as you see, this big piece of obsidian. To be honest, I never succeed to find a Kura-Araxes tomb with only obsidian inside. I mean, whatever I found, they are always among the other artifacts. I mean, there are big pieces or accumulation in Kura-Araxes tombs, but always with some other artifacts. So here, that was the only thing we found in the chamber. So just as parallel again, so Gerard tomb, where a big, around 9 kilos, weighting obsidian piece was found. But again, as I mentioned, it was with human remains and ceramic vessels. Or the pile of 34 obsidian pieces in Tallinn tomb number 11. So you can see in the center, the accumulation of obsidian. Here situation is a bit different because it was right on the chamber, not inside, but again, for sure, it's on purpose, having some connection with the ritual or something. And about the horseshoe-shaped tombs, as we know, they are not really widespread, and some of the researchers mentioned them in their publications. I mean, as a separate group talking about them, but I'm sorry if I seem to thinking high kind of it, if it seems thinking high of myself, but I believe I could find some more than in recent publications. So what I could find, I mean, horseshoe-shaped tombs are 3 in Armenia, in the territory of Armenia. LR tombs number 4 and number 6. The 6th one on the right picture is partly destroyed, but it's still clear that it had the same shape like the number 4. So on the left one, number 4, is quite well known and sometimes used in the publications talking about horseshoe shape. But on the right side, number 6, yeah, and in the book, even author says that it is very similar to the 4th one and had the same shape. So we have 2 here in LR. And the only EB tomb excavated in Horon Again, as you see, has a horseshoe shape, and honestly, it is very similar. It's like kind of 99% same tomb with the structure as I just showed we discovered in Karnut. And drawing of, again, Horon Ibi tomb. So then in Georgia, Amiranis Kura-Araxes tombs number 16 and 36. So I'm sorry for the quality of the pictures. I just decided to keep the original photos from the publications. And here, tomb number 16, again, well known, but there is another one here on the upper left picture. Number 36, again, with horseshoe shape. And the Kiketi Ibi burial number 9. Again, not a good picture, but still visible that the left or the northwest wall has a round shape. You see here, if you can see my row, here. And also beside the picture, the author mentioned that it has a round, one of the walls are round. And the last one is Tbilisi. Unfortunately, I could not find any picture of it, but the author says it is the same as tomb number 9 in Kiketi. And the northern walls of the both have round shape. So you see there in the middle part from the text, copied from the text, it says like Kiketi and Tbilisi, they're kind of the same. So, and again, if we go back to Karnut tomb number 11, once more, as there was nothing in Karnut tomb to be able to date it. Compared to the above mentioned parallels of horseshoe-shaped tombs, all of the known ones, as I realized from the materials, are EB1. I mean, horseshoe-shaped ones are all EB1. So I believe our tomb belongs to the same phase of Kura-Araxes too. Okay, so as based to Karnut tomb number 11, I started to talk about not widespread elements of burial practice in Kura-Araxes. I mean, the obsidian and horseshoe shape. I would like to share some of my ideas about the same, about some more details. I mean, these are kind of my thoughts, and I would be happy to hear any kind of negative or positive ideas or opinions about my points. And so Karnut burial number 6, as you may know, I talked about it in my paper about discovery of Karnut Ibi cemetery. There are artifacts also outside of the entrance, especially human remains. So you see here the entrance door and the situation in front of it, accumulation of stones, ceramics, and human remains here and here. And human remains of 2 individuals, and these 2 bronze objects with 2 vessels were found from the above mentioned area, I mean like outside of the entrance door. And tomb number 9 had the same situation. There was an entrance door, I mean you can see here, or more it is imitation of a door because it was too small to be able to use as an entrance, but still the tradition was followed. They made as an entrance here, and you can see even in this picture outside situation of the entrance, human skulls are visible, and the accumulation of human ceramic vessels here. And on this other screen, I don't know if you can see the numbers here from 1 to 4. These are 4 skulls of human found from outside of the chamber and 2 completely restored vessels. So again, I tried, because this was unusual for Kura-Araxes, I tried to find some uh, similar situations in any Kura-Araxes tombs. So what I could find is, I just copied the text on the top from Project Aragats preliminary report article. And it states that the evidence of human bones outside of the entrance door. Not complete skulls as in Carnot, but still human remains. I mean, like small fragments, but you can see, copy from the text, some ribs, vertebra, and some phalanx found. And on the picture, you see the entrance door, and all those fragments were found right outside of it. So in another tomb in Yerevan, at least 2 individuals were outside of the entrance. Also, you can see on the top of the stone door. So it is like 50 centimeters high. So there were a human skull and os coxae bone and the mandible placed next to each other on the top of entrance door. So none of the bones has in situ situation, anatomical position, I mean, while bones inside were more or less complete. And this is again the same above mentioned 3 bones in a better view on the top of the entrance. And this is again an evidence that when the bones were placed, they had no tissues and the muscular parts have been already decomposed. And then the last one I could find with possible symmetries in the one mentioned ones is Harich tomb number 34. So which was called as a dolmen by the author. Same period ceramics and animal bones outside of the entrance door. So I don't know how much is it connected to the ones I mentioned, but it shows some lines of similarities with the ones I just showed. So, but again, honestly, I would like to say that I talked to some old generation archaeologists who excavated Kura-Araxes tombs. So they either didn't excavate it outside part of the entrance or didn't pay attention, thinking that that is a destroying or destroyed or not in situ situation. I mean, whenever they find something there. So I believe that these elements could be more often in Kura-Araxes burial practice, but never was under the attention or published. Just to tell you, when I was talking to 2 of them who excavated Kura-Araxes burials 30, 40, maybe more years ago, they were even surprised like why we need to excavate outside of the entrance. So it's very possible, as I said, maybe these kind of situations were more often, but was never documented. And just not to go far with my ideas, I will talk about the last one. So Carnot burial number 8. When we open it, it was the chamber was half covered. You see on the screen, and with untouched situation inside. So the only idea came to my mind is that possible not long time ago, the modern villagers who live really near the site noticed that flat capstone and took it to reuse it. So just to show how capstones, because it's different orientation of the chamber, how the capstone was covering material. So all the materials were pushed under the only preserved capstone. So as I said, first I saw it modern something and it's kind of destroyed, but honestly, recently I accidentally saw pictures. I was looking Book of Samshvili again and I noticed the pictures of Kura-Araxes pearls, and I would like just to share it with them with you. So you see there tomb number 1 and tomb number 5. Again, half-covered chambers. And then tomb number 6 and tomb number 20. It's clearly visible, both of them are partly covered. I mean, like only one capstone is existing here. And tomb number 28 and 33, again, partly covering chamber. And the last one is Samshvili EB tomb number 35. Again, you see the drawing and the picture. There was only one capstone covering the chamber. And as you may notice, in Carnot pearl number 8, as well as in all the above show tombs of Samshvili, the existing capstones are covering the opposite half of the entrance, where the materials usually used to be collected. All of them, the only capstone, I mean, were placed the opposite side, covering opposite side of the entrance. I mean, I don't know if these are made on purpose or somehow it happened. Honestly, I have no idea, and again, would like to hear your points. So that's it with my presentation. So yeah, as I said, I would like to share with the new excavated and unpublished burials and all the some of my ideas about Kura-Araxes burial elements I would like to share. So thanks everyone.
Thank you, Levon. Thank you very much for the very rich presentation. Maybe before we move to question, you can propose a short sum up in Armenian. Very short.
Yeah, I can do like 2 minutes. Ստիպված պիտի հիմա հայերեն կարճ ներկայացնեմ ինչի մասին է զեկույցը։ Հիմնականում զեկույցի մեջ ներկայացված էին Հայաստանի տարածքում վերջի տարիներին Kura-Araxesյան պեղված դամբարանները, նոր պեղված եւ չհրատարակված դամբարանները, որոնք նախապես ցույց տված քարտեզում ակնհայտորեն երևում է, որ հիմնականում կուտակված են Հայաստանի հյուսիս եւ հյուսիս-արևմտյան հատվածում, երկու շատ կարևոր դամբարան ունենք նաեւ Արարատյան դաշտում, որոնցից մեկը Շահումյանը այս պահին կոնկրետ պեղումների փուլում են, ու հուսով ենք, որ այն ինչ այս պրեզենտացիայի ընթացքում ցույց տվեցի շատ շուտով կլինի նաև հրատարակության տեսքով ավելի խորը ուսումնասիրություններով հանդերձ։ Շնորհակալություն. Okay, I think I'm done with Armenian.
Okay.